In this video, I'm going to show you around the MoDiP website. We will look at the different areas and how you can use it to access the collection. So first of all, if we start with the home page, www.modip.ac.uk, you can see that we have 9 areas at the top here, which we will come back to individually. But if we scroll down, you can see that we have our current exhibition. Also, if we've helped you in any way, you can fill in a survey and tell us how we've helped you. And also, if you'd like to subscribe to our mailing list, that's there as well. Further down, if we keep going down, you can see the 3 collections, the MoDiP collection, PHS collection, and the Horners collection that we house at MoDiP. And you can go into those by clicking on the Learning More, and you'll be able to find out more about the collections, more about the organisations, and be able to see the whole collection as well. At the time of recording this video, we are still closed because of COVID, but you can access the collection through the website, or you can book a research visit. And if you scroll further down, you'll see that we have the MoDiP blog, so you can access our blog and also see some of the current and past exhibitions that we've had on. And then finally, right down the bottom, we have our social media and also our frequently asked questions and a quick way to contact us. So first of all, we have collections, but I shall return to that one shortly. We'll just run through the others. If we look at engagement to start with, you'll see that we have inspiring case studies, and these are ways that other students, other members of the teaching staff here at AUB have used the MoDiP collection in some of their work. So we've got some great resources on here just to give you an idea of how you might use the collection. We've got creative writing, we've got our student creatives who have been individuals who have worked with the collection as part of an extended project that they've enjoyed doing, commercial photography, visual communication, illustration and fine art. So there's all sorts of activities within that area. It's a good place to just get a bit of inspiration of how somebody might use the collection. We also have schools, where we've worked with schools in the past, and also learning resources, which are ways of working with the collection again. So these are for different types of people, not necessarily students at AUB, possibly prospective students, students in other organisations, GCSE areas, and also we have some what we call grab boxes, which are for borrowing both digitally and physically in order to understand the subject area. We've also got fun and games in MoDiP, so there's some fun activities that you can join in there. So if we move on to access, here is where you will find out about how you can visit the museum, either as an individual or as a group. If you want to borrow or view objects, that's where you'd find that information. And if you want to book a teaching session as an AUB lecturer, that is also where you would go. But moving on to the green section, we have plastics, and that's where you can find out much more about plastics as a material. This relates to our permanent exhibition about plastics. And here you can find out more about the objects that are on display as part of that exhibition. So you can click on the object and that will take you through to the object record and tell you a bit more information about that object. But if we go back, you'll notice that there are other areas. So we've got about plastics, we've got a section on materials. You can find out much more about many of the different types of plastics that we hold in the collection. And you can also see that there are a lot of trade names that describe the same materials. So if you know a trade name and you want to find out more about that material, you can click on that and go through to the material page. We also have a section on manufacturing processes. Again, click on the links and they'll take you through so you can find out more about that information. We have a section on plastics and the environment, very important subject. So I'll leave you to have an explore of that. You'll be able to find out all sorts of information and a good starting point to start and open that debate around the plastics and environment. We also have a section on sustainability in design in plastics. And if you work in a museum and you want to find out more about plastics in museums, how to look after them, there are resources here that you can look at. We also have a section on some books that are good starting points so you can find out more about the subject matter, and some links as well. We go down, continuing on the green section, if we go down to research. Here is where we have PhD research relating to the collection and some research that we've carried out and some of the conferences and seminars that we have run here at MoDiP. And lastly, on the green section, we have industry. So moving over to the red section, we have all of our current and past exhibitions. So if you're not sure how to explore the collection or you just want some inspiration, there are lots of exhibitions here that we've done relating to all sorts of different areas, including, for example, Spotlight On was looking at designers and manufacturers who use plastics. We have an exhibition called Polyphonic, which was looking at music through plastics. And also Being Me, which looks at plastics and the human body. If we move over to the red section and continue there, we have events. So where we have current events, this is where we would advertise them, and we have kept some of our past events there as well. So some of them have videos in that may be of interest to you. Some of them are relating to projects that we've worked on as well. And lastly, talking about projects, we have worked on lots of projects relating to how we can communicate plastics to different audiences, how as a museum you might want to find out more about looking after plastics. These are some of the areas that we work closely with. So if we return to the collections section, here you can view the whole of the collection. So there are various ways that you can dive into the collection. You could simply just scroll through and look at the objects that are standing out to you. You might be interested by anything that is there. And as I said before, if you click on the object, it will take you through to the object record where you'll find lots of different photographs of that object. So you can click through, see different views, get an idea of that object. But of course what we would encourage you to do is come and view the object as well. By looking at the real thing, you get a much better understanding of the object. However, in the meantime, you can scroll down and find out the information about that object. And everything that is blue is a hyperlink. So if you want to find out more about the footwear that we have in the collection, you can click on footwear and it will bring up all of the shoes that we have in the collection, all of the boots, anything that's relating to footwear. So if we just reset that, that clears that search term. Now you'll notice on the left-hand side of the screen there are various filters that we can use. So you might think that 9,833 objects is a bit overwhelming, but if you are just particularly interested in anything that has an image, if you click on that, it will narrow down the options of objects that you can look at. And you will see that we also classify objects in the collection. This is quite common practice in museums, gives you an idea of narrowing down choices again, and how we catalogue objects. So if you are particularly interested in objects that relate to fashion and costume, office and workplace, toys and games, you simply click on that as an option. And again, that will just narrow down the objects that we have in the collection. You might be interested in the date of an object. So if you were interested in something from the 20th century, just click on 1900 to 1999. Scroll back down to the dates. Okay, so you might be interested in something from the 1930s. You click on that. Narrows down the choice of objects again, down to only 6 this time. And we can narrow down again by looking at the type of material that the object is made of. So for example, phenol formaldehyde, also known as Bakelite. There's an option there. How objects are made, so the method of manufacture is another filter. You can filter by the person who's made it, the organisation, if we know the country, you can filter by that as well, and also colour, which is quite an unusual filter in museums, but we've found it to be quite useful. So that's all about the website and how you can access the collection. There'll be another video which will explain how you can select favourites, book objects and book appointments at the museum.